You're not going to be a dictator, are you? I said, no, 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 other than day one.
Donald Trump has successfully moved the Overton window in a way that is as dangerous for the future of democracy in this country as anything else.
This is what Vout and Project 2025 wanted.
He's daring Tom Homan to come and arrest him. Should he do it? I would do it if I were Tom. I think it's great.
They control the Congress, they control the White House, and they control the courts. And so, of course, they're massively overreaching. And yes, they are getting away with it right now.
This is clearly a man who cannot tolerate criticism of him or what he does, which is exactly what authoritarianism is all about.
The New York Times is just as fake as CNN and MSDNC. They really are the enemy of the people.
What he is saying, rather bluntly, if you stand up to Donald Trump, he will punish you.
Protesters in Philadelphia, state capitals in California, Minnesota, Michigan, Texas, Wisconsin, Indiana, and others showed up to oppose Trump, Musk, and Project 2025.
The US and President Trump has overseen America's largest military parade in decades as nationwide protests take place against his leadership.
Demonstrations are happening right across the United States today to oppose the Trump administration.
Two visions of America. On a day the country's deepening divide was there for all the world to see.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the show. I am your host, Jeff Waldorf, and camera's a little jacked up, but I'll have to fix that later on. But oh yeah, that looks terrible. All right, hold on, let me fix that.
We'll do it live!
Okay, that looks a little bit better. Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm your host, Jeff Waldorf. Welcome to Logically Left on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, whatever network, or I should say platform that you were watching the show on. It's Friday. No, I'm sorry, it's Thursday. It's like a Friday to me because tomorrow I am not going to be here. So I know I'm starting this out real great. So congratulations to myself. But no, we've got some very, very important stories to go through. We've got Kilmar Orego Garcia talking about his experience in El Salvador's mega prison. So that is pretty awful. The details on that. We have a MAGA supporter, once again, having his family broken apart by Trump and ICE, and yet is still sticking by the president. So I'm going to get the details on that. Dr. Phil's anti-woke network is broke. Declared bankruptcy. So there's that fun story for all except for, I guess, if you're Dr. Phil. And we have Trump's DHS looking into going after journalists for what? Doing journalism. Yeah, shocker. We have that. And then, of course, Idaho is there's some controversy there over a sign. What's the sign? I will show you the sign and talk about the controversy on the show. And yeah, it's yeah. So we'll get to that all in due time. Now, before I get going, please like and share the stream. Very important that you do so. It's also really, really important that you support independent, progressive media. As you could tell, don't exactly have a giant financial backing. In fact, really the only financial backing I have is from you all. These are people... you are people who actually support independent progressive media, who support getting the facts, at least as far as I can, find them, and report on them. Because I mean, a lot of the news agencies now today, the networks, are pretty scared to go up against Trump and this regime. So we've got that. I'm doing my best here to report, the facts as I can find them. As I said, and I can't do it without your support. So how do you support the show? Sign up to be a member on YouTube by hitting the join button below, or you can become a patron, patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Sign up, support the show, help me continue to report the news, and of course, try to fight back against this regime. And so, yeah, that said, let's dive into the first story here and detail the stuff that Kilmar Orego Garcia went through. Kilmar Orego Garcia, the Maryland man sent to the infamous El Salvadoran prison known as CCOT, is speaking out about his experience through his lawyers. And it's about as terrible as you could imagine. In court documents filed on Wednesday, Garcia claimed that he was both physically and psychologically tortured during the 3 months he spent in Salvadoran custody. While being held, Garcia and 20 other men were forced to kneel approximately from 9 p.m. to 6 a.m., according to court papers filed by his lawyers in the federal district court in Maryland. So basically, you're not allowed to really sleep when you're sitting there kneeling for that amount of time. Well, what happens if you fall over? You get beaten by the guards. Not only that, but detainees were denied access to the bathroom during those times, and as such, of course, Garcia said that he was forced to soil himself, which is dehumanizing treatment, and that is the point. That is really the point about all this. Not only that, but detainees were held in an overcrowded cell with no windows, with bright lights on for 24 hours a day, which again is torture, confined to metal bunk beds with no mattresses. Again, all of this is torture. Okay, straight up. It is all torture. It is all stuff that should be absolutely illegal, which is, of course, why Trump sought out CCOT in the first place. Okay, that is not an accident. That is by design, sending them to a foreign concentration camp that will, torture you. It will torture you. That is the point. If you send someone to this place, you are saying, I can't wait for them to torture you. Yeah. Now, as a result of this physical and psychological torture, his lawyers say that he lost about 31 pounds during the first 2 weeks of his confinement. And this is the conditions that he and other migrants are being held in. Migrants who, in a lot of cases, didn't even commit crimes, but even if they had, this is torture. No one deserves to be treated like this. They're not even being treated as human beings anymore. Okay? This is not how you treat people. Now, later, his lawyers write, he and 4 others ended up being transferred to a different part of the prison. Why? Well, it turns out pressure. Because in this different part of the prison, they were photographed with mattresses, better food, and these photos, of course, appeared to be staged in order to try to document alleged improved conditions. And I mentioned this is a result of all the political pressure, the media attention, all of that. So if you didn't think the protests and pressure were effective at all, that they were doing nothing, well, you're wrong. This is a result of that. And so I believe that all of the attention and the focus on Orego Garcia and the attempts to try to bring him back home, I think they saved his life. Remember, this prison is for disappearing people. That's it. And odds are that he would have been disappeared if people had not been paying attention. That said, he is alive, but he still went through literal hell. I mean, these conditions are hellish on purpose. Now, the filings also noted that officials within the prison had even acknowledged that, because so the big thing that the administration is claiming is, he's a dangerous MS-13 gang member. But prison guards were like, these aren't gang tattoos. This guy's not a gang member. In fact, prison officials explicitly acknowledged that plaintiff Orego Garcia's tattoos were not gang related, telling him, quote, "Your tattoos are fine," per the filing. And they even had kept him in a cell separate from those accused of gang membership. Now, if he was part of a gang, why would they do that? And why would they do this next part? Where they would threaten to move him into those cells with the gang members whom the officials said would tear him apart. Why threaten to do that if he was such a dangerous gang member? So, look, he's not part of the gang, never was, and they knew it, but they didn't care. They actually used that against him. They tortured him. And that right there shows you that the cruelty here is the point. It always was. That said, while he's no longer in CCOT, he's not out of danger. He's still in danger. Look, the Trump administration, or regime, I should say, was forced to bring him back by order of a judge. And in what is absolutely a petty and vindictive move, that same administration then accused him of gang membership, which was debunked, and also accused him of human smuggling, which is pretty ironic, okay? Because what the Trump administration is doing by sending, in many different cases, innocent people, yes, most of the people that have been deported and sent to these places, these torture facilities, had no criminal records here or anywhere else. No criminal records, no convictions, not even being accused of crimes. They sent them there anyway. That is human trafficking that this administration, this regime is doing. Now, the Trump Injustice Department is now trying to get this guy to stand trial for these phony charges. Orego Garcia has pleaded not guilty to the smuggling charges, which attorneys have characterized as an attempt to justify the administration's mistake in deporting him after the fact. Remember, this regime actually admitted that, we sent him there by mistake. But, we're not going to get him back because, that's out of our hands, except that was a lie too. Everything this administration is saying is a lie. They are lying to the American people. Bald-faced lies. There is no one in this administration that tells the truth. No one. They're all lying to cover up their inhumanity, their torture of innocent people. That is what they're doing. Look, after this is all said and done, I swear to God, if the Democrats say something like, we only look forward, not backwards, in punishing the people who made this happen, assuming they ever get back into power, then, they're a lost cause. It would be comical if that were to happen, if it weren't so horrific, allowing the people that let these innocent people go get sent to another country to get tortured, if they didn't hold these people accountable. It's ridiculous. Now, look, the other thing too is this administration is trying desperately to try to pin him with something, because he's got to be guilty of something, right? We just cannot admit that we are wrong. Just can't do it. Not at all. Not only that, but they're threatening to send him to another country, if not El Salvador, if he is released from jail before he's even allowed to stand trial. So they're openly admitting that they plan on violating his due process. If he gets let out of jail, ICE is getting ready to abduct him and send him off who knows where. Who knows where? The shit that they're doing to this man is not only illegal, but it's absolutely disgusting. It is cruelty for cruelty's sake. And if they can do it to him, they can do it to anybody. And they plan on doing it to other people. That's what they want. This doesn't matter. The law does not matter to them. They are Nazis. This is what Nazis do. Have you got it yet? Sending innocent people to these concentration torture camps on BS charges. Speaking of camps, by the way, now they're building them in the United States. Alligator Alcatraz, which is more like alligator Auschwitz. Now, a Justice Department lawyer, Jonathan Gein, told a federal judge in Maryland that this administration would deport Orego Garcia not to El Salvador, but to another third country, I don't know, maybe South Sudan, which contradicts statements from Attorney General Pam Bondi that he would be sent back to El Salvador. So they don't even know what they're doing, which again is a hallmark of fascism. Yes, they are cruel, but not especially smart. Amid the confusion, Garcia's lawyers requested that their client remain in criminal custody, fearing that if he were released, ICE would come in and try to deport him. Exactly. Upcoming hearings in both Maryland and Tennessee will help decide whether Orego Garcia will be able to remain in the U.S. and be released from jail. I hope he gets released and he can go back to his life. But I am afraid that no matter what a judge says, I still think ICE, it's very likely they might come back and kidnap him and then disappear him to another torture dungeon altogether. And they're going to make sure that he doesn't come back out. That's what I'm afraid of. And there's reason to be afraid. This regime is cruel and lawless. The last thing that they want is for someone like Garcia to come in and be able to share his story. In fact, right after this, by the way, DHS spokesperson Tricia McLaughlin put out this completely disgusting statement. Once again, she says, the media is falling all over themselves to defend Kilmar Orego Garcia. The media's sympathetic narrative about this criminal illegal gang member, which again, not true, has completely fallen apart. Yet they continue to peddle his sob story. He was tortured. We hear far too much about gang members and criminals, which he's not, false sob stories, and not enough about their victims. Who did Kilmar Orego Garcia victimize? Who did he victimize? No. That statement right there from Tricia McLaughlin, it reeks of desperation because they know what they're doing is illegal. They are breaking laws and they don't care. According to whistleblower, top DOJ officials, including Trump's former personal defense lawyer, intended to ignore court orders and even planned to lie to federal judges. That whistleblower, Erez Reveni, actually worked on Garcia's case. He said that Emil Bove, is the top lawyer, okay, in a March meeting stated that the DOJ would need to consider telling the courts to, quote, F you, and to ignore any orders to stop the deportation of migrants to this torture facility. He was fired, by the way, Reveni, for complaining about that and saying, hey, maybe we should listen to, the law and the courts and stuff. Maybe we should do that. He was fired. Retaliation. Absolute retaliation. He says he also had refused orders from leadership to file a legal argument in court that he believed would be, quote, contrary to law, frivolous, and untrue. Look, they don't care about the rule of law, guys. Reveni's attorneys wrote in a letter last month that quote, he tried to warn his clients and other agencies not to engage in illegal conduct and was thwarted, threatened, fired, and publicly disparaged for both doing his job and telling the truth to the court. And there it is. I mean, look, anyone who's trying to claim that this administration is not fascist is lying to you. Just like this administration lies to you. It's lying to all of us. This was never about law and order, never about the Constitution, never about going after criminals. No, they're breaking laws that they don't like in order to punish their political enemies, people they don't like, while elevating their friends. That's what this criminal, lawless regime is doing every single day. When do we fight back? About 6 months ago. Okay. Moving on. An Iranian Trump voter, yes, you heard me right, an Iranian Trump voter whose wife was kidnapped by ICE agents is still standing behind Donald Trump. Because of course he is. Arpene Masai and her husband, Arthu Sahakian, they're proud MAGA fans. Okay, they're part of the MAGA. The MAGA, oh yeah, make America great again. Yes, they supported him during the election. They have a flag outside of their house and had given MAGA hats to their kids. The same people that are like, we don't want political indoctrination of our children. Here's some MAGA hats, folks. My God. But hey, okay, so the kids, they gained the MAGA hats, but they lost their mom. Masai, who is now in her 40s, came to the U.S. back when she was about 3 years old. Now, she was fleeing from the fundamentalist Islamic government and was a refugee. Now, she had a green card up until about 15 years ago. Now, what happened? Well, it turns out when she was in her 20s, she made a mistake, as people in their 20s often do, and ended up being convicted of theft. So she stole some stuff. It was worth less than $200, but it doesn't matter. That was enough to get her green card revoked. So, but wait, that doesn't mean that she was here illegally. No, she was still allowed to stay in the United States. So she had a deal with immigration, and in that deal, she was basically, she had to meet with immigration authorities on a regular basis to ensure that she was, yes, following all the laws of the United States. Now, look, I think people make mistakes. I am a rather forgiving person. It's not like this was a violent crime. So, and again, she had that deal with immigration to make sure that she followed all the rest of the laws. Okay, whatever. She apparently had been doing pretty well staying out of trouble. So then what happened? What happened? Well, for one, Trump got elected. And said, I'm going to come after all the criminal aliens. Well, where did that leave Masai? Well, she's technically a criminal alien. So there you go. But okay, but what brought her to ICE's attention in the first place? Well, it turns out that it was right after Trump started bombing Iran. Now, she didn't do anything, but after Trump dropped bombs on another country to help out Israel, people at DHS were like, we're worried now. Since we did attack Iran, now we're worried about the sleeper cells. Oh, okay. So they found and rounded up anyone who's Iranian. So her and more than 130 Iranian nationals were rounded up, said federal sources. And there it is. Basically, this is Japanese internment 2.0. So she gets rounded up. Now, what does her husband have to say about all this? Oh, well, oops. Trump, he said, is not trying to do anything bad. He just abducted your wife. We understand what he's doing, though, he said. He wants the best for the country. I'm just trying to make the best of it. You're going to have to make the best of sleeping alone, buddy. She ain't coming back. And I think everyone knows that. Everyone knows that. During a phone call with Fox 11, Masihi expressed concern for her future and her immigration status. So I don't know, maybe she's going to get sent back to Iran, or maybe they're going to send her to CCOT. I don't know. All I know is that she had told Fox 11, quote, I'm on the list to be going to a different facility. And once that happens, well, who knows where she's going to end up. But I can guarantee it ain't going to be pleasant. Now, when asked if the experience of watching his wife be taken away had changed his stance toward Trump's immigration policies, he said, quote, well, somewhat, just because I'm going through it, but I was very selfish before. But what I see now is, okay, there's a reason for it. What reason? Now, he said that detaining people like his wife will, quote, resolve a lot of issues because we'll know exactly who's in there, for what reasons, even though I miss her dearly. Oh, do you? Do you? I don't know, man. My response, I mean, if the government took my wife, I'd kind of be pissed. I'd be really pissed. And I would actually be trying to fight like hell to get her out. But this guy doesn't seem to be doing any of that. Does he even care? Does he even love her? He's defending her kidnappers. Because that's what this is. It's kidnapping. He said, quote, I'm still supporting Trump, even though my friends say, take the flag down, the Trump flag. You're going through a lot. And I'm like, no, the flag stands. What? And this is why it's useless to try to reason with these people. This is why I say it's a cult. These people are 100% MAGA. They're on board with what Donald Trump is doing, even though it is tearing their own families apart for literally no reason. You think this woman is a danger to her community? Are you kidding me? She once stole something, 15 years ago? Oh my God, who cares? Who cares? Trump is a 34-count convicted criminal who has been found liable for sexual abuse of a woman, E. Jean Carroll. He's probably in the Epstein files. Why don't you release them? Should. That man is far more of a danger to this country than that one young woman, 40-year-old woman. Okay, and yet, her and her husband supported them. That's right. And now, what it looks like, they're getting the day they voted for. Can't reason with them. Now, I'm not saying that people can't break out of the cult. They can. But they're going to have to do it themselves. You can't save them, so stop trying. Now, if they can admit, though, that, boy, we were sure wrong about Trump, that's a start. You can build on that. That's a foundation right there. But until then, until they can admit that they were wrong, let them continue to find out on their own. I have no sympathy, and it's not because I don't want to give the sympathy. It's because I don't have it. I don't have any left. It's gone. I'm only going to save it, reserve it for the people who actually deserve it, who actually feel any sign of remorse. Otherwise, I'm drained. It's over. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who feels this way. So the tax bill passed, did it? Well, no shocker here. I knew it was going to. I mean, was it really any surprise? They were gonna pass this thing because the donors, they want their tax cuts. So of course that was gonna happen. So I'm not at all shocked. That's why I didn't even like. Mainstream media has been doing this like, is it gonna pass? You've got holdouts here. Oh my God, what's gonna happen? And I'm just like, they're gonna pass the damn bill. You know they're gonna pass it. Because the Republicans, they always pass these tax bills. And it's funny, when you contrast it with, like, for example, the Democrats want to do something, right? They want to pass like something that a minimum wage increase or something like that, right? And every time it's like down to the wire, and then finally, defeated. Once again, defeated, right? But every time the Republicans push the most unpopular, brutal bullshit bills on us, the American people, it passes. It's always a foregone conclusion that they get the worst shit passed. And that's because we don't live in a democracy anymore. We don't. No, we live in a fascist oligarchy. And I'm hoping that more people start to realize that. We're in the shit now. And we have been for a while. And it will continue to get worse and worse and worse. All right. We're going to talk about Dr. Phil. Oof. Go anti-woke, go broke? Turns out, yep. TV's Dr. Phil is finding out after his new TV network and streaming service ended up having to file for bankruptcy just after a year after launching. Phil McGraw's Merit Street Media, which was launched in April of 2024 with the ambition to become one of the most widely distributed startup networks in modern history, has fallen far short of that goal. The Fort Worth, Texas-based network and streaming service was designed to take on the cultural woke assault against American families. That's right. We're talking about the woke here.
The wokers.
And here we go.
Woke.
Oh boy. All right. Now, he said, Merit Street Media will be a resource of information and strategies to fight for America and its families, which are under a cultural woke assault as never before. I love this country, and I believe family is the backbone of our society. Together, we are going to stand strong and fight for the very soul and sanity of America and get things that matter back on track. Well, how's that going? Not good. Real bad, actually. Just weeks after laying off 40 employees in a second round of job cuts, because there were some earlier, back in August of 2024. Okay. Now, the company has now filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. Court records show the company reported assets and liabilities of between $100 million to $500 million. But don't worry. Okay, yes, well, anti-woke, go broke. But Dr. Phil, well, he's got someone else to blame. Because of course. And it's not woke. No, the network had been created in partnership with the Christian company Trinity Broadcasting Network, which Merritt Street Media is now suing for failing to provide agreed upon national distribution and other significant foundational commitments critical to the network's continuing success and viability, according to a statement given to CBS News by a Merritt Street Media spokesperson. What do they mean by that? Well, examples include, alleged in the lawsuit include failing to guarantee Merritt Street's national distribution and providing, quote, comically dysfunctional production services, which left the network without any viable means of airing its programming. What programming? What programming? Merritt Street Media also claimed that TBN used its position as a controlling shareholder to, quote, advance its own interests and those of its CEO, and unfairly shift the liabilities onto the company. Wait a minute, I thought they were supposed to be a Christian company. I mean, if they were doing that, that's true. That's not very Christian of them, is it? That said, without hearing from Trinity, it kind of feels a bit one-sided here, especially when you consider that Merritt Street had some other issues. What am I talking about? Well, back in November of 2024, PBR, no, I'm not talking about the beer, the Professional Bull Riders Association had pulled their programming from the network, claiming that they were not paid the broadcasting fees that they were owed. Oh, and in February of this year, the network was described as, quote unquote, hemorrhaging cash. Sources said that this had gotten so bad that the company was forcing staffers to put on a fake show in a bid to impress potential investors. An insider said that to make the place look thriving, which apparently it was not, they ended up staging an entire show that never actually aired. The second the money people left, the whole production shut down, and the furious staffers went home. Oops.
Oh, no!
Okay. An unnamed TV executive familiar with the operation said this, quote, he thought, Dr. Phil, that he could slap his name on a network and viewers would flock to it. But launching a network is a completely different beast. There was no real game plan, and now he's paying the price. To which I say, sad baby. Look, I cannot say that this couldn't happen to a more deserving person. Oh, he's definitely deserving. Dr. Phil is and always has been trash. His daytime show was TV garbage. The policies that he believes in are even more garbage. Let me tell you what, Oprah has a lot of making up to do for unleashing this guy upon the world, not to mention Dr. Oz. But look, it is funny to see that Merritt Street apparently cannot survive upon its own merits. And there you go. Yeah, Dr. Phil, hate it. Absolutely hated that show. Moving on. You've got more disaster. All right. Ooh. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem is claiming that journalists at CNN may have committed prosecutable offenses. How? By doing basic reporting. Now, look, this is a very serious issue because we have an administration that is looking into violating the First Amendment, the freedom of the press. And they're talking about it openly. Now, on Monday, and this is where it started, CNN reported on an app allowing users to report any sightings of immigration and customs enforcement agents. Now, there are a lot of legitimate reasons why you would want to do that. Now, that's in response to the many illegal ICE raids where they have taken American citizens and others without due process. So you had developer Joshua Aaron creating an app called ICE Block. That launched back in April, and then just recently, CNN wrote an article about it and also reported about it on the air. Now, the right wing, of course, upon seeing those reports, reading those reports, melted down. Not just about the app itself, but the fact that CNN actually reported on it. In fact, I'm going to show you here Tuesday's Hannity show on Fox News, where Fox News host Sean Hannity suggested that both the app itself and the reporting about the app are illegal. Now, I want to show you CNN's report and then show you Hannity's response.
I talked with Joshua Aaron, who is the longtime tech worker who developed this platform, and he said he really wants it to be an early warning system for people about the location of immigrations and customs enforcement officers. So he says he does not want people interfering with those officers' activity, but he does want people to be able to avoid them altogether. You open the app, it looks like a map, and users can tap the map to report an ICE sighting in their area, and then everybody who uses the platform within 5 miles of that sighting will get a push alert. This is a free iPhone app. It is anonymous. Aaron says he doesn't collect any user data.
Now, this new app comes amid a disturbing surge on assaults against ICE and federal agents that are conducting immigration raids. According to our own Bill Malusian, between January 21st and June 30th of this year, these assaults were up nearly a whopping 700% over the same time period last year.
So let me stop there. Okay, the numbers that he cites about assault against ICE agents, I ain't buying it. I'm not buying their numbers. In fact, in response to CNN's report about ICE Block, ICE's acting director, Todd Lyons, claimed that officers and agents were already facing a 500% increase in assaults. Well, wait, hold on. I thought it was 700. We're getting all sorts of different numbers. Y'all can't even keep it straight. And look, by the way, there's absolutely no evidence that was provided that backs up either of those numbers. And so there's a lot of just trust us, bro. How many of those alleged assaults are them just making it up? What? It's not like they haven't lied. I mean, look, they had claimed that New York City Comptroller Brad Lander, right, when he was taken away by ICE, assaulted them. So look, I showed you the video here. There was no assault. The agents were lying. They were lying about this alleged assault. Lander didn't assault anyone. And you know what? The agency was actually forced to drop all the charges. So no, I'm pretty sure that their numbers are bullshit. They're bullshitting you. And add in the fact that, by the way, ICE is going around, they're wearing masks, concealing their identity, hiding in unmarked vehicles. They're wearing plain clothes. They're kidnapping people off the streets without warrants. I mean, it wouldn't be a shocker if their target had tried to defend themselves. I mean, after all, you don't know who's attacking you, trying to kidnap you. And add in the fact that everybody knows that ICE, that people have been impersonating ICE agents in order to commit their own crimes because they can get away with it. So there's all of that. Look, the problem here is ICE, not this app, and certainly not somebody who's reporting on the existence of this app. But once again, this administration is fascist, they're lawless, and so now they're looking into arresting journalists
Are they not aiding and abetting in the law breaking? Are they not responsible for obstructing justice? And she was very open to looking into the criminality of it, or potential criminality of it.
Yes, absolutely. I believe, in my opinion, that they are, and that's why I'm so thrilled that Pam is willing to be proactive and go after those individuals that would perpetuate this kind of activity against our law enforcement officers. These ICE agents, these law enforcement officers, Border Patrol agents that get up every single day and are working to get these dangerous criminals off of our streets are heroes. They are absolute heroes. And to hear that the amount of violence that's coming up against them, a 700% increase in just the last several months, against them and their families. They're not just going after them, they're also doxing their families and threatening their children. And these individuals just love America and believe that the law should apply to everybody. They're doing their jobs that Joe Biden never let them do, and they're protecting their own communities. And to have someone like CNN openly describing how to use technology to reveal the activities and the operations that these law enforcement folks are trying to conduct, it's shameful, and it could be prosecutable. So I'm glad that Pam is looking into it.
Gross. That was just gross. No, ICE agents are not heroes, okay? They're not protecting their communities. No, they're going after people going to immigration hearings and Home Frickin' Depot. Okay? That's who they're targeting. They are cowards and they are fascists. They are the Trump brown shirts. And I hope every single one of them, every single one of those agents has a profound sense of shame in what they're doing. But Kristi Noem, she has no shame. It's pretty obvious. She's going on Fox News wearing that gaudy ass hat and then sitting there lying the whole time. She's lying the whole time. She lies as easily as she can breathe. That's it. That's the reality. But let's, address the main thing here. Now, the fact that doing journalism and reporting on something, that is protected by the Constitution, the First Amendment. Okay, that's the reality of the situation. We have constitutional protections. She's sitting there saying, we're going to violate those. We're going to violate those. There's nothing illegal about the app, by the way. I mean, just telling people where ICE is, allowing for users to tell other users, hey, I saw ICE agents here, or I think these people might be ICE. I don't know. Shouldn't we have the right to know where they are? Shouldn't we have the right? Especially considering how there are so many ICE impersonators running around claiming to be federal agents and then using it to, for example, sexually assault women. Don't you think it'd be important to know where these people are? Who's real and who's not? Think about it. Think about it. At the end of the day, look, these so-called constitutional law and order alleged conservatives and people like Sean Hannity, they're just Nazis. That's it. They're Nazis, and they're proving it every single day. Okay. Last story of the day here. I know I've been getting through them pretty quickly, but this one's a doozy. Idaho is making sure that no one feels welcome in their public schools. I guess unless you're white. Now, recently, the Idaho Attorney General's office declared that schools in the state will no longer be able to post signs declaring that everyone is welcome here. There it is. I mean, that's the sign. That's the sign. What the hell is wrong with that? Everyone is welcome, and it shows everyone. What's going on here? Well, you're going to love their reason for hating this, okay? Now, they're claiming that the sign violates an Idaho law which prohibits signs, flags, or banners showing political viewpoints or ideology. What ideology, political ideology, does this sign represent? I mean, I don't get it. Everyone is welcome here. What is that? I don't get it. So apparently, though, their rationale here is that, oh, we can't have that because it's criticizing the policies of President Donald Trump. Well, hold on. Why would you think that? Why would you think that? Oh, could it be because Donald Trump's policies are unwelcoming towards certain people? I mean, if that's the case, then you're pretty much telling on yourselves there. That's it. I mean, you're telling on yourself. You're saying, no, we don't want everyone welcome. We only want certain people. Ah, okay. Yeah. Idaho Ed News reported on Monday that the Idaho's Attorney General's office claimed that these signs are part of an ideological/social movement, which started in Twin Cities, Minnesota, following the 2016 election of Donald Trump, and added that since that time, the signs have been used by the Democratic Party as a political statement. The Idaho Democratic Party even sells these signs as part of their fundraising efforts. Oh, no! Now, the signs became an issue after Sarah Anama, a teacher in Idaho's West Ada School District, refused to take it down from her classroom because she did not believe that a sign welcoming students, regardless of their race or ethnicity, should be considered political. Well, I mean, it shouldn't be. What's political about that? Isn't that, by the way, is that not what Republicans claimed that they were arguing for? Saying all lives matter? Of course, they were doing that only in response to Black Lives Matter, but they were saying, all lives matter. Everyone should be welcome. Why are we so focused on race? Everyone should be welcome, should be treated equally, right? And then, of course, they ban a sign saying everyone is welcome here and should be treated equally. Unbelievable, except totally believable. They're totally believable. No, what's funny is that the Republicans made this political. That's what they said. The Democrats were not selling these signs until after Anama was told to remove them. And so, of course, Democrats did what they normally do. They'll be like, oh, wow, this outrageous thing that the Republicans did, let's try to fundraise off of it. Okay. And so, but it was Republicans that turned this entire thing political by saying, we can't have it. We can't have it. In a statement to Idaho Ed News, Anama expressed absolute bewilderment that anyone could find the signs to be a political statement, especially given that government institutions are already legally barred from engaging in any sort of racial discrimination. To say that everyone is welcome in public school is not political, it's the law, Anama said. Yes, that's true. But here's the thing. This entire situation shows you that Republicans do not want everyone to feel welcome. MAGA does not want everyone to feel welcome. They actively want to exclude everyone but white, they want to exclude everyone but white people. Okay. The right wing in this country is racist.
The Republican Party is racist.
It's really that simple. It is really that simple. And I love the assumption, by the way, that these Republicans made that, this is anti-Trump. How is it anti-Trump? Unless, of course, you believe that Trump is against inclusion. And he absolutely is against inclusion. He's for exclusion. But they keep telling on themselves whenever they do shit like this. Okay? These same people, by the way, they're out there attacking anti-fascist ideology. And they're out there calling themselves anti-fascists. You do know what that makes you, right? You do know that if you're an anti-fascist, that would mean you're pro-fascist. Well, yes, they know. Oh, they absolutely know. Oh, yes. They're quite well aware of what that makes them, and they're proud of it. They're proud of it. All of the masks are off. The hoods are off. And all of their ugliness, all of it, is now in plain view. If you don't see it, it's because you don't want to. But everyone else, when you see stuff like this, when you see them in their full, unapologetic bigotry and racism, when you see them and they're right in your face with it, you know that's who they are. They're telling you. They're not hiding it anymore. And it is time to call it exactly what it is. Okay. That's the show today. At least that's what I have for stories. I do want to read some comments here. Coffee Girl with a very kind $5 super chat says Helldivers 2 is coming to Xbox for democracy. I wish we had one. Wish we had a real democracy. B-Man29397 says GOP, the party of law and order, just gave a plea deal to the ex-governor of Puerto Rico, Wanda Vasquez, who was charged with bribery and had destroyed the electoral integrity of Puerto Rico by handing control to her party. Yeah. So, we got party of law and order, all right. That's right. Randy Butler says these people are so delusional. They took his wife. Yeah, they really are. You can't. I mean, you can't argue with. You can't get them out of this. You know, the cult mentality. They are stuck in it. They're fully into it. And I don't know. I don't think we can get them out. I don't think we can get them out, and I don't think it's even worth trying at this point. Okay. V-Man, thank you, Randy, by the way. Randy Butter. V-Man 29397 again says, if I'm the next president, knowing Trump will pardon these monsters, I'd call the ICC to press charges of human rights abuses and hand them over to The Hague. Yeah, it seems like most of our government needs to be handed over. And then Mike Lee, the Prude Whisperer, says, that dumb big bill just passed. We are so screwed. Yeah, it's not surprising. Not surprised to see it pass. I said it earlier. I knew this was coming down the pipe. They couldn't wait to pass it so they could get tax cuts for their donors, the owner donors, people that run this country, and of course, more funding for their cruel, racist, anti-immigrant, white supremacist policies. And of course, also to gut Medicaid and the SNAP program. So they're doing that too. And that's part of this big, nasty bill. Grumpy Cat says, thanks for the show. Happy 4th of July. Yeah, look, I don't think anybody's going to be celebrating here the 4th of July, especially given this news. Yeah. There's no filibuster in the House of Representatives, Boofed. As much as we wish there could be a way to actually stop this bill, it is not going to get passed. I'm sorry, it's not going to get stopped. It is going to get passed, and there's really no way of stopping it now. I mean, in the Senate, that's why they did reconciliation the way they could, so that you couldn't filibuster it. And of course, from the House, you don't really have a way to filibuster it. So I knew that this was going to get passed, and this is going to get shoved down all of our throats. Are we screwed forever? I wouldn't say that, but we got to get this government out, and we got to get fighters in, people who will actually stand up for real against this criminal or administration's criminal regime. So, all right. Okay, that's all I got time for, though. They're making millions of people have work requirements, and there's not enough jobs for it. In fact, they're actively making less available jobs. Yeah, I mean, again, as I said before, this is social Darwinism, and this bill is going to kill people. I know there's a lot of people. What a lot of people were, why they're calling it the murder bill, because that's what it is. It's going to kill a lot of people. A lot of people are not going to be able to survive. And well, that I wish I could say that the immediate response to the Republicans would mean that they are, going to lose and never be a political force again in this country. But, it is a concern by a lot of people that we might not even have elections in 2026. And so, that is a legit concern now. And yeah, this is, things are bad. And there's definitely not a lot to celebrate on this upcoming Independence Day. But anyway, tomorrow I will not be here. Not that I'm celebrating, but take the weekend and recharge, because there's a whole new fight that is going to have to begin, and starting on Monday. So, do what you can, recharge, get ready for that, because it gets much more difficult and much worse. So, yeah. Go to a protest, definitely. I hope there are a lot. There's other things that, of course, we need to be able to do to fight back. All right. Everybody, thank you for watching the show. Please like and share the stream. Please like and share the videos. Subscribe if you haven't already. Become a member. Join our Patreon, patreon.com/jeffwaldorf. All that stuff to, help independent, progressive media. We're pretty much the only ones who are going to give it to you straight. I mean, not afraid of Trump coming after us. Just, unlike the mainstream media right now, which is afraid. And so, yeah. Help me move to Canada. Help all of us move to Canada. I'd love to. But no, can't do it. Can't afford to do it. So I guess we're stuck here. Okay. Everybody, thank you. Love you all. And remember, I know it's difficult to think about it, but change really does begin with all of us getting together, taking care of our communities, our family members, our friends, organizing our workplaces, organizing protests, and getting together and standing up against these criminal regimes. That's all I can say. We'll see you on Monday.